Weight loss jabs brought online and social media can pose real dangers to the health of the public in cases where the jabs prove to be fake. And that's what experts are warning today, aren't they?
They are. The government's Criminal Enforcement Agency for Medicines has revealed a surge in the illegal trade of counterfeit weight loss medicines, often bought by from unregulated online sellers. In fact, have a look at the figures. Over the last 2 years, almost 1,000 fake or unlicensed weight loss products have been removed from circulation, and almost 400 social media posts, websites and marketplace listings have also been taken offline. Great that they've been seized and taken offline, but of course it makes you wonder how many more out there, doesn't it?
It really does. And we're now joined by mum of three, Judi Jones, who says she was left in excruciating pain and had to be rushed to hospital after buying what she thought was a legitimate weight loss jab, that she paid £100 for 4 doses. We're also joined alongside her by Dr Amir Khan. Jody, as I understand the story, you bought this not from a doctor, but somebody who said, this is the real deal and you're going to lose weight. And you thought it was a well-known brand, is that right?
Yes, I was told by this lady that it was semaglutide.
Right, semaglutide.
Yeah, so, and I thought it was great, it's working, people are losing weight on this.
Well, why did you take it in the first place? Why not do the thing of losing weight in the traditional way? Everybody's doing it, you know?
Yeah, well, I've got health issues already. I have spinal problems, I've got degenerative disc disease and functional neurological disorder. I wake up most days in pain, especially this morning.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's really difficult. Some days I can push myself, but then it could end up with a few days in bed and it just sets me back. I can't keep a routine for exercise.
And was it to lose weight medically because that would help the condition you've got?
Definitely.
So not driven by, because you don't look like you need to lose weight, not driven by cosmetic, or was it a bit of both?
A bit of both, I'd say, because I would love to get back in my size 12 jeans. Cool. But yeah, physically for my health, it does make a big difference when I am slimmer. That weight off my body helps my spine.
Was there any impulse to go to the GP first before, you know, injecting yourself?
Yes, I did go to the GP first, and I was referred to the dietitian, and I was advised that I probably wouldn't get these injections through that way, because it's just my BMI wasn't high enough.
Right, in order to get them, they're very expensive.
Yeah.
I understand it. It's a few jabs in that the worst symptoms started. You ended up, well, vomiting over a period of about 24 hours.
Yeah.
And then I think it was your son that said, right, we've got to get an ambulance.
Yeah, so my son and my eldest daughter were looking after me from the Thursday night until the Saturday morning before
What did you feel when it started to go wrong? Talk us through that moment.
I was... the first injection was fine. I was OK. I lost weight the first week. I thought, this is working, this is great. And then the second injection, about 6 hours after taking it, I just felt so unwell. And I just... that constant vomiting, just after a few hours, I thought, is this going to stop? And it just didn't, and that's when I started to feel really, really unwell and dehydrated.
What happened when you got to the hospital?
Well, there was quite a wait in the ambulance before actually going in, and I was just still vomiting. And because we were already at the hospital, the ambulance couldn't give me any medication to help that. And it was just excruciating. I was just in so much pain. My stomach was hurting. I had nothing in me anymore, and I was in and out of sleep, really.
Without naming the person, but I'm going to go to Dr Amir in a second, can you just tell us what this chemical was and whether it was a licensed person who gave it to you, just to be clear?
So I don't know what was in the injections that I took, unfortunately. I would love to know.
What were you told it was?
I was told it was the semaglutide.
Now, semaglutide, it's a long name. Just tell us what that is. Is it a weight loss medication?
So semaglutide is the medication. It comes in different brands. Some are licensed for weight loss, some are licensed for diabetes, which is what these drugs were originally for.
Semaglutide is the medical name for what we think of as a weight loss jab, and we use brand names.
We use brand names normally.
OK.
And ideally, you know, when it first came out, we gave it to people with type 2 diabetes because it increased insulin production by the pancreas. And then we realised soon that it helped with weight loss because it keeps you fuller for longer, turns off your hunger hormones. So people found they weren't eating as much, but really importantly, they weren't thinking about food while they weren't eating as well.
So this is obviously a terrible tale. You know, you believed you were doing something that was good for you. And the predicament that Jody found herself in, where she was just under the BMI, that is why a lot of people are seeking out non-GP prescribed versions of this, because they feel that they want to be different. They see others who have transformed their lives because of it in a positive way. And this is a really common thing now, isn't it?
It is. Strictly speaking, the criteria for prescribing these drugs, whether that's on the NHS or privately, is exactly the same. You know, your BMI plays a factor, other weight-related illnesses play a factor as well. So there shouldn't really be any discrepancies for the reasons you're prescribing them. However, if you go to people who are not regulated, who are not adhering to the rules, you will get the drugs that way, or you could get something completely different and counterfeit.
The thing is, this medication that was invented to treat type 2 diabetes is being used pretty broadly now as a cosmetic drug. Let's call it what it is. How advisable is it to take it rather than just losing weight in a sensible way?
I think it's really hard. When you're living with obesity, it's such a complex illness. It's not just a case of eating less, moving more. There's so much more to it in terms of the mental health issues, poverty, all of those things factor into it. And I think, yes, absolutely, we should be promoting a lifestyle where people are eating whole foods, moving, sleeping, stress management, all of those things that contribute to weight loss. However, that's not realistic for a lot of people. And if you're living with chronic illnesses that increase your weight or make it difficult to lose weight, these drugs do have a role in that, alongside all of that holistic management of weight and mental health as well.
But I fear that one of the reasons why people are seeking out dangerous counterfeit drugs is because they can't get access to the others. They tend to be cheaper, and perhaps there are financial issues to getting access to it. And it feels like, even though that's the absolute right advice to always go the right way, there's going to be a gap, isn't there, Jody, where people do seek it out. How do we deal with that? Because it's just gone...
The issue is that there's been a huge demand for these drugs and supply can't keep up, so there's a hole in the market. So opportunistics, criminals will take advantage of that and make these counterfeit drugs that don't quite do what they say. There's so much danger involved with that. You know, the wrong drug will give you lots of side effects. The wrong concentration of the drug, if it's been diluted down or impurities added, will make you feel poorly. And if they are deregulated, the chances of them being made in the right way in terms of the pens and the needles being sterile will be lower as well.
And pancreatitis and so much.
So many side effects.
Jody, I mean, the story is horrifying, and tragically and sadly, it's not one story.
No.
You know, help us. What's your message to anybody out there that's considering buying this stuff from unregulated online sellers or from people who are not qualified doctors?
Just don't. Do your research. Make sure that person is qualified, get the right advice. Have your BMI checked by your GP. Have a discussion with the GP. Go for a dietitian. Just don't... Just because it's cheap or easier, it's not worth it.
Can I just add to that? When you do go and see your GP, there's different tiers of weight loss management. And if you don't fit the criteria for these injections, it doesn't mean you're not going to get any help at all. We will point you in the direction of other forms of help too.
Well, thank you both very much. Thanks, Jody, and thank you,
both
Dr. Amir.